ज्योति स्टेनो टाइपिंग कॉलेज में आप सभी का स्वागत है बच्चों। ये जो क्लास है ये इंग्लिश डिक्टेशन क्लास है और ये सभी डिपार्टमेंट्स के लिए इम्पोर्टेंट डिक्टेशन है। ये कैलाश चंद्रा की कैलाश डिक्टेशन नंबर 230 है और जो है इसको जो है लिख करके पढ़ने के बाद अगर आप टाइप करके अपनी एक्यूरेसी जानना चाहते हो तो ये वेबसाइट है www.jyotistenottypingcollege.com। वहाँ जाइए, एक बटन होगा लाल कलर का, एडमिशन फॉर गवर्नमेंट जॉब ओनली, उस बटन पे क्लिक कीजिए, रजिस्ट्रेशन कीजिए, यूज़र नेम पासवर्ड बनाइए और वहाँ स्टेनो कोर्स के अंदर मंथली या ईयरली जैसे भी आप लेना चाहते हो कोर्स लीजिए। इससे पिछली डिक्टेशन सारी लीगल डिक्टेशंस, बेसिक और हर तरह की क्लास उसमें अवेलेबल है। जितने भी टाइपिंग सॉफ्टवेयर्स हैं वो टाइपिंग सॉफ्टवेयर उसमें अवेलेबल है। एक फीस के अंदर ही सारी चीज़ें मिलती हैं, तो वहाँ से जैसे इसको आप कर सकते हो और अपनी एक्यूरेसी को अच्छा कर सकते हो। लिखने पढ़ने से जो है इतनी जल्दी शॉर्ट हैंड अच्छी नहीं होती। अगर उसको टाइप करके अपनी एक्यूरेसी ठीक करते हो तो उससे आपकी स्पेलिंग, आपका जो है फॉर्मेट, ये सब ठीक होता है। तो मैं पढ़ने जा रहा हूँ कैलाश चंद्रा डिक्टेशन नंबर 230। डिक्टेशन स्टार्ट आफ्टर 5 सेकेंड। Sir, as a teacher, I am pleased to note that the government have appointed an old teacher, Dr. Kothari, as the chairman of the University Grants Commission. We are proud of his scholarship and of his devotion to duty, and we feel that under his able guidance, the University Grants Commission would be able to render increasing service to the cause of education in this country. I am glad to know from the Education Minister that the University Grants Commission and the Education Ministry are functioning harmoniously, but I wish to point out that in the last report of the University Grants Commission, the Commission pointed out certain difficulties in carrying out its responsibilities. I do not know what steps were taken afterwards to remove those difficulties and to ensure to the University Grants Commission autonomy which is its due. Sir, we are holding conferences of the Ministers of Education and conferences of the Vice Chancellors of the universities, and I feel that we should also hold conferences of the Chairman of the University Grants Commission of various states. In spite of that jurisdiction, we are holding conferences of vice chancellors of universities, and we are dealing with various educational questions. If there are no university grants commissions in certain states, and if they are not functioning properly, it is the duty of the education minister at the center to deal with that problem also in the conference of the ministers of education of the various states if they find some difficulty in having a conference of the chairman of the university grants commissions of the various states. I do submit that the universities are not functioning as autonomously as perhaps the education minister wished them to function. I know that in the last report of the University Grants Commission, it was said that freedom is vital to good education and democracy, and I know that our education minister today also repeated the same idea in other words. But I am afraid that interference in university education is rather increasing. The bureaucrat spirit is tending to dominate the university life much more than it did when we were under the British regime. Universities in certain states are tending to be instruments of the government's policies, intra-party conflicts at government level, and often conflicts between the state government and the union government in certain cases cause difficulties in the administration. I do know that for the present state of affairs, teachers and students are to an extent responsible, but I beg to submit that the higher authorities are in no way less responsible for the present state of affairs in our universities. Without mentioning bans, we know that proper care is not taken in the appointment of vice chancellors. If the system of election has failed selection by government has proved no better so far as the cries of the vice chancellors are concerned. In many universities, the directors of education are chosen as vice chancellors, and I have reason to believe that their selection is in general resented by the professors of the universities concerned. I do admit that some of the directors of education might be fit even to be in charge of universities, but I do feel that if the government wish that persons in charge of secondary education should also take interest in university education, it is proper to appoint them as university professors before they are appointed as vice chancellors of universities. I have in mind a person like Dr. Amarnath Jha, who belonged to the Provincial Education Service. He served as a university professor, had experience of university education, and then when he became the vice chancellor of the university, he discharged his duties as vice chancellor admirably well. I wish to point out that personal character, wide human sympathy, interest and understanding of university education, capacity for leadership, faith in the democratic ideals, reputation for learning and confidence of the authorities are absolutely necessary in a good vice chancellor and proper persons as vice chancellors of universities. I welcome the new pay scales of teachers of the central universities. I do wish to point out that there is a great need for the amalgamation of the grades of lectures and readers. Most of the teacher conflicts are due to these two grades subject to certain efficiency bar are amalgamated. I do feel that there is no marked difference in the abilities of teachers of central and state universities, and there is need for equalization of the pay of teachers of state universities. Whoever may be responsible for the difference in pay, the country would suffer if there is no equalization of pay, because disaffection would continue and this will tend to spoil the university life and standards. I wish to point out that some system of transfers should be encouraged by the University Grants Commission. ये जो मैंने पढ़ी है जो डिक्टेशन, ये पूरे 801 वर्ड थे, 801 वर्ड थे और ये मैंने 8 मिनट्स में पढ़ी है, यानी कि पूरी 100 की स्पीड थी। तो पहले इसको अच्छे से पढ़िए, फिर इसको टाइप कर दीजिए इस क्लास के अंदर। इतना ही बच्चों, नमस्कार बच्चों।